Okay, so I'd love to introduce Ed Flynn to the audience. Ed has a deep expertise and experience in workforce development, healthcare, reentry, and myriad other subjects and experiences that he brings to SkillsLine. He's joining SkillsLine as development lead, and welcome, Ed. So, Ed, could you maybe kick things off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Chris, as you know, I was born in New York City and raised there. As a child, I had a child and went through a series of things at the beginning of my life that lasted forever in terms of self doubt and inability to believe that maybe what was possible for not just others, but myself. And across the life that I've had, great opportunities in employment have suggested that that's not the case, that through hard work, through a growth mindset, through understanding that there are places and people that can help you be more than what you imagine, opportunity becomes available. And I love SkillsLine because I think that's what it's about. It's about understanding that the opportunity in life education and employment is there for you. If you do the work, if you're accountable, and if you connect with others that will walk with you along the way on your journey.
Ed, you talk a lot about personal skill development. What do you mean by that?
Well, as it relates to especially a journey to meaningful employment at a living wage, which I think is the only way generational impact occurs, by the way, it's about learning how to communicate effectively, how to listen, not just talk, how to be clear about what you believe in to others, showing up on time, being appropriate in how you dress and how you behave and how you interact with others. I think that there's a whole list of very basic things that in our world today people have forgotten are critical in all phases of life. And you learn that at the front end. And in some places, children are not getting those educations.
One of the things that struck me as we've had conversations is how you refer to continuous personal skills development. Why do you talk about this being continuous? And can you give us an example of a time when you've seen that be effective getting a person ready?
Well, obviously, life is built in stages. So I've been a youth at risk. I've been an athlete with some renown. I've been someone that's graduated with degrees and had employment opportunities at every level. But at each of those moments, I needed to remind myself there were still things to learn. And also, I would lose my way occasionally. I could be in a boardroom and trying to communicate something I thought was important and why the investment in that made sense. So there was an organization that was serving people at risk and recovery. And I believe we needed to build an apartment complex because while they would come to us all day and deal with anger management, deal with their criminal engagement activity, their family disengagement as a result of their behaviors and their challenges in life, they would work hard, but then they would go back to the same neighborhood where those things were prevalent, where the same people that they had spent all their lives with still existed and were pulling them in the direction from which they were trying to escape. I wanted the board to understand, let's build this apartment complex because if we put them in a place where they're safe and where they don't have those challenges, the work they're doing will pay off in the end. I got a little anxious in my description of that need to the board and they got scared. And it almost took 8 years before it actually happened. And when it happened, the results were real and powerful. But I think if my understanding of how to effectively communicate and tell my reason why and be appropriate in a room with those that didn't quite understand it had been at its best, we might have had that 5 years ago instead of 8 years later.
Yeah, we see these personal skills, what we at SkillsLine call human skills, being developed throughout a person's life and in different contexts, from middle school on up to adulthood. And I'm curious, we talk a lot about readiness, right? You hear job readiness, career readiness. What does it mean in your mind for an individual to be ready?
Well, I think ready is always about your ability to effectively communicate to others and recognize who your audience is in that communication first. We talk about a common language. You talk about it all the time, Chris. And so I might describe something in a way that I understand, But if it's not received well by those that I'm communicating it to, it has no value. The other thing is that I'm an important and effective member of any team I'm on. It doesn't matter where you are in life, you're part of a team in your home, if you go to church, in your school, athletically, employment wise. So, how do you engage on that team in a way that helps others see you're somebody they can trust and believe in and count on? And also, you're somebody that will be honest with them about how you see the way things are going and where they need to improve. And finally, being ready is about having available to you those things that whatever is next require. If it's a job, the education or the certification or the credential or the skills associated with that job. If it's about life, it's about being the kind of person that encourages others to know you can be counted on. In time of trouble, you'll show up, you'll be present, you'll be available. Those basic things are what it's all about in being ready. And as employers, as someone that's managed thousands of people previously, when I get somebody like that, that's ready to be that person, I can teach them anything else they need to know to be effective in my world, in my company, in my environment. If they don't have those things, no matter how smart they are or how much they've learned about the technical aspect of the job that I might hire them for, they won't be successful.
One of the things that really comes through as you're speaking is passion and self-awareness, and an understanding how that passion drives your work. Can you talk to me a little bit about why you're so passionate about this work and what it means to you personally?
As a young person, I slept on a bench. Okay. I wondered where the next meal was going to come from. And I was aware that what was ahead in life was not necessarily what I hoped or dreamed for. That has stayed with me, but also with so many people that I have been connected to in my life, I have seen them not come through that challenge in their life's journey to a place of opportunity. And so I believe that human potential is significant, it's infinite. And I don't believe, as something someone used to say a long time ago in a world that I was a part of, God doesn't make any junk, and everybody has something to contribute. And if we work with them to recognize that and become the best of what they can be, then community benefits, family benefits, and the workplace benefits. And so I'm passionate about it for those reasons, so that we don't leave talent on the table unrealized, because we need everything everybody else has to offer in this world to be the best version of ourselves.
Why SkillsLine?
Well, SkillsLine on the front end really was intriguing, and I test drove it with my grandchildren because it really challenges you to think about what you believe in, and have you set yourself a limited set of expectations as opposed to an unlimited set of expectations. And through that realization as a child, are you able to overcome the fact that maybe others have set a low bar for you for whatever reason, where you were born, what you look like, what language you speak, the amount of money your family has, what house you live in? I really believe that the intention for me is around recognizing that none of those limitations matter. At the end of the day, what matters is how we overcome them through personal skill development. And SkillLine's curriculum allows each of us as an individual to see our own potential in those things that we can learn and do differently than perhaps what we've been taught or what we've observed in others in our lives.
Thanks, Ed. I think that's a great note to end on. And I'm looking forward to working more with you, learning from you, and doing more of these recordings as we develop. The team here at SkillsLine is super excited to have you on board. And thanks for being a part of the SkillsLine team.
Well, thanks for all you do and for the example you set. And let's go help some people, Chris.
That sounds great. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate your time.